Movies, television, books, music, games, comics. Pop culture is one of the things that makes life worth living, and pop culture can be a window into your soul. Welcome to Blew My Mind, a forum for Shrink Tank contributors to share and discuss their own personal, mind-blowing pop culture experiences. I'm your host, Dr. Craig Pohlman. I'm a neurodevelopmental psychologist, Trekkie, and Yoda disciple. I'm joined by two guests, Juliet Kuehnle.
Hey.
Juliet is a writer, singer, and therapist who works with individuals, couples, families, and groups on issues such as grief and loss, body image, and life transitions. Are you fired up, Juliet?
Always.
Because this episode is going to be pulse pounding.
Get ready.
Tarik Sloussi.
Yo.
Tarik is a writer and therapist who helps middle school, high school, and young adult guys find peace and fulfillment in their lives. He specializes in behavioral, mood, and adjustment-related problems. Tarik, are you fired up?
Yes.
Get this man some adrenaline. Sports represents a huge aspect of popular culture. Sports are ready-made for drama, and in this episode, we are talking about clutch sports moments. We'll be sharing athletic performances that blew our minds because they came under immense pressure. Tarik, what do you have for us?
Oh, man. There's only one that comes to mind. You know, there were some that I was entertaining, but when I landed on this one, it's all about Reggie Miller versus the Knicks. You know, you talk about the 95 semis, the Eastern Conference semifinals. And that's just a moment in time that you talk about Reggie Miller and his interaction with Spike Lee, who sits right there courtside, and the choking signal. But let's just get to the clip, and then we'll process it more.
99, 18.7 seconds left. Miller for three, and he got it. Reggie Miller with a clutch trey, and it's 105-102. And a steal. Miller retreats to the three-point line. On hit again. Reggie Miller has tied the game with 13 seconds remaining. Reggie Miller made...
You look at Reggie there, and you know, today everyone's talking about Steph Curry and how he's the three-point shooter, but Reggie did it in clutch moments, in moments where it really counted. His team was down 6, and he hits 2 threes back-to-back, gets a steal on the next inbounds, hits another 3, so it's 2 threes back-to-back, and then surprisingly, his team fouls for no reason when it's a tied game. The other team goes to the free throw line. The Knicks, Starks, who's famous for dunking on Michael Jordan, goes to the free throw line, misses 2 free throws. Reggie Miller, actually Patrick Ewing from the Knicks gets the rebound, shoots it, misses. Then Miller gets the rebound, gets fouled, goes to the free throw line, makes 2 free throws to seal the game. 8 points in 9 seconds of actual clock time.
Yeah, and in between, so the Pacers, the Indiana Pacers, inbounded the ball initially, and that's when Miller hit his first 3. Yes. Then they got a steal, and he got the steal well inside the arc, and then
retreats
he
to the three-point
line and drains it. Absolutely, like cold-blooded. And I got to tell you, back then, I was a big Knicks fan. I lived in New York, and I was traveling, so I was not able to watch this game, and I was just stunned when I heard the news. And even though it was game 1, I had the feeling that the Knicks were doomed. To give up a lead like that, it was just going to crush them psychologically. Now, my recollection is the Pacers did take a 3-1 lead. The Knicks came back and tied it, but then the Pacers won Game 7 and went on to the conference conference final.
That's right. And who doesn't love Reggie Miller? He's just such a likable guy, right?
Wow, you're talking.
That sound like a girl there, Juliet.
He's so cute.
Exactly. Point made.
He's been a very good commentator.
There you go.
His second career. Yeah, Reggie Miller, ice in his veins.
All the way.
All right, Juliet, what do you have for us?
Okay, so 1999, big year for me. Mine is going to golf. Okay, so 1999 U.S. Open was in Pinehurst, which is where I'm from. So there was kind of this perfect storm of lots of emotional kind of factors to this U.S. Open, which makes it really, really special. So Payne Stewart, it was almost a comeback for him. He'd been meeting with a sports psychologist, had really tweaked his game, his approach, his focus. And so he was just really on for this tournament. I actually standard bared for him the first practice round of this tournament. So I felt super connected to him via, that through this whole tournament. So again, very personal for me. So they're playing in Pinehurst, which is golf mecca. Final Sunday, as always, on Father's Day. Phil Mickelson was awaiting the birth of his first child, and so he was in second place. So there was that emotional aspect. And then, of course, how Payne Stewart ends up passing away 4 months later. So putting all of this together, it was just a really, really epic U.S. Open. So going to his final putt, they're going into hole 18. Payne is up 1. He has to sink a 15-footer to win the tournament. Or if he 2-putts, they go to an 18-hole playoff on Monday. And he sinks the 15-footer, and it is beautiful.
Payne Stewart is the 1999 U.S. Open champion. Oh, my.
What a clutch putt.
One of the things I love about that is you can hear people yelling, "Get in the hole!"
Of course. And then he has his signature kind of pose after it, his cheer, which has now been bronzed into a statue behind the 18th green in Pinehurst.
Full extension, too, there.
Right.
You see it
One
all the way
foot.
through.
With his knickers and his little hat. I mean, he's just also just such a likable guy. It was just awesome.
And you see the raw emotion there with his caddy goes and hugs him. And then even with Phil Mickelson, he embraces him as well. And you hear his post-game speech, and he's talking about Phil Mickelson and how he could have left at any moment if he had the call from Amy, I believe, Phil Mickelson's wife
and
is.
so, and then the child was born the next day. So had they gone into a playoff, not sure what would have happened there. So everything just aligned, and it was just an awesome win.
And, people need to appreciate, if they're not in the know about golf, the U.S. Open is a huge deal. I mean, that is a career-defining tournament to win. The whole golf world is watching what happens at the U.S. Open. And so immense pressure, even taking out all the things that Juliet mentioned, just to have your name on that trophy is amazing. And to have it come down to one putt, I mean, it's hard to imagine the nerves that must be coursing through your body.
Yeah, it gives me chills.
How does your body even operate under that? I think these high-level athletes, their brains just work differently.
Yeah, it's remarkable.
And from what I recall, I don't think Phil Mickelson has gone on to win another one since.
So he's been the runner-up, I think, 6 times. So kind of brutal for him. Yeah.
Yeah, he's won other major tournaments, but
Sure.
the U.S. Open has eluded him. All right, let's go to my clutch sports moment, and I need to contextualize this. Back in 1972, at the Summer Olympics in Munich, swimmer Mark Spitz won 7 gold medals, some individual and some for relays. And so that was always kind of the holy grail of swimming. Could someone come along and win 7 gold medals in an individual in one Olympics, or even surpass that? So let's fast forward to the year 2004 in the Athens Games, and a rather upstart swimmer by the name of Michael Phelps comes along.
Who's that?
You may have heard him here and there, maybe seen his face from time to time. At that Olympics, he won 6 golds and 2 bronze. So people were starting to think, well, maybe there's a guy now who could meet or surpass Spitz's record when 2008 came around in Beijing. And he trained for it. One of the things I really respect about Michael Phelps is he embraced the challenge. He made it very clear that he was going for 8 gold medals. That was the summit he was climbing towards, and all of his training, everything was built towards achieving that. But remember, to get there, he not only had to win his individual events, he had to win a relay. He had to win a couple of relays, and early on in the Olympics, he had to get the help of his teammates in the 4x200 free relay, or 4x100 free relay. And let's listen to that dramatic finish.
The United States trying to hang out a second. They should get the silver medal. Australia is in bronze territory right now, but Lizak is closing a little bit on Bernard. Can the veteran chase him down and pull off a shocker here? Well, there's no doubt that he's tightening up. Bernard is losing some ground. Here comes Lizak. Unbelievable at the end. He's done it. The US
So
has done it.
Phelps was not in the pool at this moment. This was Jason Lizak swimming the anchor, and he had to come back against the favored French team and this thrilling swim down the stretch. And the U.S. won by 0.08 seconds, 0.08 of a second. So that kept Phelps on track to win the gold. So let's go to later in the Olympics now. Phelps is trying to win his 7th of 8 golds. This is to equal Spitz's record, and he's in the 100 fly. And also in the pool with him is Milorad Kavic from, I believe, Serbia, who was a major threat to Phelps, and an amazing swim here. Let's take a listen.
Very, very fast. It appears that Cabbage and Crocker are going to have the lead at the turn. That was expected. Cabbage has the lead. 24 needs to come back. He's 24 flat. That's a great turn for Phelps. He's mixed in the wash, but here he comes. Crocker is above Phelps. Phelps looks like he's passing Crocker. Phelps needs to get by Cabbage. Does he have enough in the tank to get it done? Cabbage is swimming tough. Phelps above him in lane 5. I don't know if he's going to catch him. He gets it done again. He did it. Oh, he did it. He gets it done again. For the second straight.
Spine tingling. So Cabbage was a front runner. Okay, so he swam out to a lead at the turn. This is 100 meters, so this is just back and forth in the pool one time. And at the turn, Phelps was way behind. He was actually in 7th place at the midpoint of this race and then had to charge down the stretch. And I remember watching this thinking that at best Phelps was going to be 3rd. I think his mother looked up and put up 3 fingers thinking he was 3rd. But he chopped his stroke at the end, and underneath the surface of the water, he got to the wall 100th of a second ahead of Cabbage. 50.58 to 50.59.
And and if you look at the frozen frame or the freeze frame, Cabbage is actually ahead. His body's ahead. It's just the extension of Phelps that leads him to the wall.
The athleticism is so crazy, and that's awesome about swimming. Just by a hair. I mean, it's really, really remarkable.
So, I mean, because of the decades-long buildup of the Spitz record of 7 golds, what happened in Athens, what had happened earlier in these games. I mean, everyone was watching to see could Phelps get to that 7th gold, and to get it done under all that pressure by 100th of a second. Talk about a clutch sports moment. He then went on and won his 8th gold. I believe it was the medley relay, and that was a foregone conclusion.
I want to foreshadow just a little bit to 2016, just because that one is pretty epic. I think the media hyped that one up a little bit, but Phelps versus Chad Leclos in the 200 meter, and Chad Leclos doing the shadow boxing beforehand, and that one was a very interesting one to watch as well. But Chad Leclos didn't even finish in medal contention because he hyped Michael Phelps to the point where he definitely showed up.
You know, Cabbage, like Leclos, they kind of talk trash.
Oh yeah,
to Phelps,
which only fueled him, right?
Right. Now, on the one hand, you got to respect somebody for standing up to the big dog, but you don't want to poke the bear.
Yeah, and Leclos did beat Phelps in 2012 in that 200-meter butterfly. So there was some attention there, and I think that was when Michael Phelps had retired, and there was some conversation about Leclos winning to 2015 and trying to argue that, you know, it's still solid in that race, but Phelps was talking about how that race is one he could easily win, so that's when he came back and showed that he could win it.
Right. Clutch stuff all the way around. So thanks a lot. Let's wrap things up here. Our audio engineer and editor is Sean Beck. He deserves a hug.
Yeah.
There he is.
Thanks to my guests, Juliet Kuehnle and Tarik Sloussi. All of us write articles for Shrink Tank. Be sure to check out all of the content, including videos, quizzes, and surveys on our website. Shrinktank.com is the place for all of your psychology and pop culture needs. Until next time, I'm Craig Pohlman, and this is Blew My Mind.
Shrink Tank.